Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. A very uninteresting, uninspired, and unintelligent 2019 WWE Draft takes over Monday Night Raw tonight, thankfully for its conclusion, but it is wrapped up by a very unintelligent, uninspired, uninteresting, and unnecessary segment involving the FireFly Funhouse, or the Firehouse Funhouse if you're Jerry the King Lawler, and we're gonna talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review for the 2019 Draft. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
It's sad. It's sad to me how the WWE can take a character that is so unique, so original, so inspiring to watch, something new and fresh, and ruin it so quickly and so seemingly easily by reverting to the same old shit we have seen time and time again from this company, which is just rehashing the same old garbage over and over and over again. I'm not crazy, am I? Do you guys remember? Do you remember yourselves when Bray Wyatt was last at the top of the WWE, and he was the WWE champion, and he was involved in this very ridiculous, unintelligent, uninspired feud with Randy Orton, where we had cockroach lights lighting up the ring, and then we had worms in the ring and all this shit, and it led to the going to Bray Wyatt's house, and what did Randy Orton do? Randy Orton burned down the Wyatt compound. He burned it to the ground. And what happens tonight? Seth Rollins, in WWE's last-ditch effort to make this nerd look cool, has him go fiend hunting. Now, while this seems like an interesting thing for once Monday Night Raw, not that I wanted to follow Seth Rollins around the Raw set all night long, but here you have something interesting that you could give us. Him on the hunt for the FireFly Funhouse. Nobody knows where the hell the location of the Funhouse ever is, so it would be interesting at the very least to follow him on this journey. But Seth Rollins says we are just gonna go fiend hunting, and then we do not see him again for the rest of the show. We don't see him snooping around the boiler room. We don't see him in the parking lot. We don't see him bumping into this one or that one, asking them if they have any idea where the hell the FireFly Funhouse could possibly be. We didn't see him go to Jerry the King Lawler and say, "Hey King, listen, it's not Firehouse, it's FireFly Funhouse, and I want to know if you know where it is." We didn't see anything interesting about it. What made it even worse is that when we finally get to the FireFly Funhouse segment with 2 minutes left to go in the entire show, it is clearly not the FireFly Funhouse. You see, because the FireFly Funhouse, see, now I can't say it like Jerry the King Lawler. The FireFly Funhouse has a door. It also has a window. It's a very nicely put together set. So where the hell did the door go? And here's an even better question. Since there's no door and no window to gain entry into the FireFly Funhouse on this particular episode, where the hell did Seth Rollins come from when he found it? How did he find it? Where is the entrance? How did they screw this up? Even if they wanted this to go that way, it's so freaking easy. You couldn't make a dummy set that at least had a door? I mean, think about it. As much as you may or may not have liked this, how much better would it have been if maybe Bray Wyatt's standing there, rambling rabbits like, "Hey, Bray, we got the Seth Rollins, he's coming to burn us down." And he's like, "No, listen, calm down, everything's cool." And then there's a knock at the door. Maybe Bray Wyatt assumes it's the Fiend. Oh, the Fiend is here. Don't worry. The Fiend is here to protect us. And he opens the door, and there's the fucking architect, and he burns the goddamn set down. Not that I would want him to do that, because burning the set down, like I said, is repetitive. It is stupid. It was done before, and he should have done something different. Oh, but his catchphrase means to burn it down. Why do we gotta be literal? We don't have to be literal. He could have tore that entire set to shreds with his bare hands and said, yeah, that's right, I just burned it down. I'm a nerd. Seth Rollins. I don't understand how you could screw up such an easy thing. This was their own idea, and I fixed it for them very easily. What, you couldn't pay for a burn-away door? You could pay for the wall and the pictures of Finn with the X and the pictures on the wall and all this other shit in the table with the cloth that was never ever there before, but there it is. This weird table with a blue tablecloth getting put on fire. He flips it into the wall and we had all these weird special effects, and now the Fiend is laughing about it in the background, and it's just unnecessary. It's unnecessary. You want to know why it's even more unnecessary? Not just because it was uninspired and unoriginal and uninteresting to burn down his set, but because both of these guys, by the end of this night, are on 2 separate shows. The whole point of Friday and Tonight was to separate the rosters, right? The whole point of Friday and Tonight was to initiate a brand split that was going to be followed. Right? But here comes the fucking crown jewel. An uninteresting, uninspired, unnecessary pay-per-view event from Saudi Arabia where the Fiend can't even have his lantern. You know, it's like against the law or something to walk around with a severed head, even in play mode, or even in like Hollywood, I guess. There are some weird rules over there. And Bray Wyatt can't fully initiate the whole entirety of his Fiend gimmick. And you are going to sacrifice this on the WWE network. You're going to make his character look different. You're going to do something that is not along the lines of what we're all used to with the Fiend. You're going to have this Falls Count Anywhere match, which you all know is going to end in shenanigans. It's going to be both men can't make it to their feet by the count of 10, and they're both going to be just eliminated, even though part of you are thinking, oh, well, they did it on Halloween, and it would be a better time to give the Fiend the championship on Halloween. They didn't give it to him at Hell in a Cell. They ain't going to give it to him at Crown Jewel. So don't get your hopes up for any of that. But why is this match even happening? Because we have to follow up from the worst Hell in a Cell of all time? Why not just erase it, forget about it, and move on? We fucked up. Bray Wyatt's on another show now. We'll get it right with the WWE Championship, and we'll leave Seth Rollins alone to do his thing. Seth Rollins now has 2 matches at the Crown Jewel. Why? It's going to be Team Hogan and Team Flair. They don't have any other members. Team Flair's still missing a member. Team Hogan's missing 2 members. We're a couple of weeks away from this. We got no mention of that. The members of these teams are all mixed between shows. Where's the draft? Where is it? Do we have to wait for Crown Jewel to come and go? Is it going to disappear every time we have to do a Saudi show? When the Greatest Royal Rumble comes back around again, are we going to blur the lines of the brand split because everybody's got to go here? Why are we having half of this shit happen? Why is Cain Velasquez coming to the WWE? Why is Tyson Fury in a stupid match with Braun Strowman? For Crown Jewel. So you could blame Crown Jewel for half of this shit going down. You could blame WWE Creative for the whole rest of it, from Vince McMahon down to the lowliest low man in the totem pole, because nobody's got the balls to speak up and say we shouldn't be doing any of this, boss. You fucked up the Fiend. You ruined Seth Rollins throughout the course of the year. You made him end up looking worse than Roman Reigns could have ever looked. Like, I don't even want to see Seth Rollins on my TV anymore. And I was one of the biggest advocates of this guy while we were going through that whole Roman Reigns nonsense. I was like, why isn't Rollins the guy that has the ball? He was clearly the more popular guy at the time. And you took that and you shit all over it. And now here we are. And Monday Night Raw and a draft doesn't help anything. Most of the reason why you might not realize that the draft is not feeling so good to you and why it feels empty and why nothing feels impactful or big is not just because they made some really ridiculous and nonsensical picks, but mostly because the wild card, being around for the last 6 months or however long it's been, has blurred the lines so much that nobody knows where anybody is anymore anyway. So all these announcements of, oh, this guy's on Raw, this guy's on SmackDown now, it doesn't feel like it's special. It doesn't feel like anybody's moved. What does it matter that Kevin Owens is on Monday Night Raw now? Because he's been on Monday Night Raw occasionally promoting the Shane McMahon thing. What does it matter where the fucking New Day goes when we got the New Day here and there and everywhere? What does it matter that Becky Lynch is now on Raw or SmackDown when they were back and forth on Raw and SmackDown a million times? Charlotte Flair, the same thing. Who cares? It's all the same, and it's going to take a long time for us to actually feel this brand split. Once we start seeing superstars separated from one another and we see the brands on their own merit, then we will start to understand. Then we will start to say, oh, you know what, maybe the draft did work for the best. But coming right off of it, right on the heels of it, when you have a draft that you have Monday Night Raw taking guys like Jinder Mahal before the King of the Ring, or before a Cesaro, or before the Usos, or before many of the undrafted talent that remain in the pool, how serious can you take this draft? You got the friggin' news teams, right? The Fox News War Room, we're back in those things. I was hoping we weren't going to see those again. I thought that was going to be exclusive to Fox. But apparently no, because we got the USA War Room too. So we got to go back and see the stupid robot who's happy that SmackDown got The Miz. The robot wanted The Miz. Can't we be happy for the robot? Cletus, the Fox Sports football robot. He wanted The Miz. He got The Miz. We're supposed to care about this. Let's get excited. The Miz went nowhere because The Miz has been on Raw and SmackDown for the last 6 months. So what is the impact? Why is the SmackDown team cheering? Yeah! Fox Sports got The Miz! And I'm going to reiterate a point I made on the Fox Sports SmackDown review we did here. What are these idiots cheering for? Why is the guy in the Ultimate Warrior paint with the Chinese food and the chopsticks getting all happy with every announcement of every pick? Why is the robot dancing around for The Miz? Didn't they know who they picked? They're showing you sitting there, checking papers, fiddling pencils, doing all this stuff. They know who their pick is. And I still don't understand the celebration. Because you still didn't explain to me why they don't know who their pick is. And why they're acting as if they're getting the best gift ever gifted to them by Stephanie McMahon. Are they just excited because she got to announce it? Oh, let's hear Stephanie's voice. We get to see her giant boobs. It's the only thing Stephanie McMahon brings to Monday Night Raw is a nice looking set of giant fake boobs. Other than that, she could go away, and if she would keep her mouth shut, would be preferential. Because nobody wants to hear Stephanie McMahon call anybody's name or anything. Except maybe Triple H. But that's another story for another day. You got R-Truth. The 24/7 champion. They made a big deal out of getting the 24/7 championship on Monday Night Raw. The robot was dancing. The robot on the Fox Sports side was dancing for that one because he didn't want that piece of trash title on the SmackDown show. He was happy. Fox News, I believe that celebration wholeheartedly. They heard it. They were, oh shit, we don't have to get that piece of shit 24/7. I don't give a shit. Hey, look at me. I'm a clown avocado toast title with the golden rims around it. Let's dance, robot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of that. But this is what happens when I have to tell you guys things. Like Jinder Mahal was drafted before Samoa Joe. An injured Jinder Mahal was drafted before an injured Samoa Joe. If you're comparing the two, even though both men are injured and shouldn't even be eligible in this draft due to the fact that they are injured and can't compete, why would you take Jinder Mahal? Oh, former WWE champion, former United States champion. Who wants to see Jinder Mahal? Nobody over here. Elias was called the biggest acquisition in SmackDown history. But he's being chosen second to last. He was actually the last pick of SmackDown. The only person to come after him was Liv Morgan from Monday Night Raw. Sure. Why not? Why you would pick Liv Morgan and not Ruby Riott? If you're picking injured superstars, pick Ruby Riott. She was the star of that team. So many people overlooked. So many. Cesaro. Why would you not pick Cesaro? But you'll pick Shorty Gable. Why would you pick him now that he has that stupid name? Then you got obvious picks. Monday Night Raw starts off tonight, the first two picks. What did you think they were going to pick? Did you think they were not going to pick the champions? It was stupid enough that we had this eligibility nonsense so that Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar weren't allowed to be drafted on Friday. That's the dumbest thing ever. That's just a way for them to be able to say first evers and this and that. Oh, well, Becky was the first on Friday, but the first on Raw was Seth. He was the number one pick on Monday, and the number... All unnecessary. Stupid, really. But of course, number one, you're on Monday Night Raw. They're going to pick the Universal Champion. They're going to pick Seth Rollins because they think he's the coolest thing since sliced bread. Then, of course, number two is going to be the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar going to SmackDown. What are they going to do? They're going to leave him? If the champions are eligible, which they shouldn't be. They should already be on their shows without any threat of any champion going anywhere. Even the mid-card titles, it should all be frozen. Anybody there is safe. Because all you're doing is wasting picks. You're picking people you already have. And that trend continued throughout this draft. You're SmackDown Live. Shouldn't you only be drafting people that are not on your show? Like, SmackDown has Daniel Bryan. They've had Daniel Bryan. They shouldn't have had to draft Daniel Bryan because he's already contractually bound to SmackDown Live. Right? But no, we got to pick Daniel Bryan, and then Raw's going to pick Eric Rowan. Because that makes sense. We're going to take him away from everything he's been doing. We're going to take him away from his partner. We're going to put together Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, and then we're going to immediately disassemble them thanks to this draft. We're going to take Eric Rowan away from the guy we've been building a feud for him against, and we're just going to put him out on an island of his own on Monday Night Raw with absolutely nothing to do. That makes sense. That makes sense. You're drafting Ziggler and Rude together. The Ziglorious Rudolphs, they could be drafted as a team, but Harper and Rowan can't. The Usos don't even make the list. They're an actual team. The Usos didn't get drafted by nobody. The New Day got all three members. Nobody picked the Riot Squad. Liv Morgan got picked by herself. What are the rules? Oh, we're just going to pick and choose as we see fit. Awful. Charlotte Flair moving to Monday Night Raw was a no-brainer. There was no other reason for her to lose to Bayley on SmackDown if she wasn't being moved. And now she gets put in the opening match tonight because Sasha Banks is apparently hurt from the Hell in a Cell match. Effectively making her the representative for SmackDown Live, which is a show she's no longer going to be on. So effectively, at the start of the show, she was fighting against the brand she was going to be on by the end of the night, which already makes it stupid. She was fighting Becky Lynch for the 100th time this year, which makes it doubly stupid, and we didn't see anything special or spectacular. We got a 15-minute match out of these two girls, all to find out that Charlotte Flair was going to eventually come to Monday Night Raw anyway, so now we're going to probably see this again over and over and over again. But Charlotte Flair being on Monday Night Raw means a whole lot more than that, because that's the reason why we got Andrade. There's no other reason for Andrade to be put on Raw than to keep his woman happy. Conversely, Monday Night Raw probably kept Aleister Black to keep Zelina Vega happy, and it's a chain effect, and all of it has to do with keeping the Queen in check and making sure that little Miss Nate is A-okay. So she gets her main squeeze, Zelina comes along, Zelina gets her main squeeze, and everybody's happy on Raw. That is the only reason any of those choices went down. Oh my goodness. Monday Night Raw tonight was a complete disaster. The 2019 draft, in and of itself, has been a complete disaster. Moves that don't make sense. Moves that nobody wanted. And so many top-notch superstars left on the playing field that it makes you question whoever these imaginary people are that are running this company for Fox and USA making all these picks. The nonsensicalness of the newsrooms and all of that, we're just going to erase all of that from the memory banks. And hopefully we never have to see any of that shit again. Because it was god-awful. Some of the most cringeworthy shit you will ever see. The Chinese dude dancing. Here's another one dancing like the robot every time they made a pick. It's like, what am I watching here? It's almost as bad as the Cinemax film we got with Lana and Bobby the Milk Dud Lashley. The old Milk Dud getting his milk duds off tonight. Giving Lana a back rub. A naked back rub. People on social media, oh, well, it's attitude era, this is what you wanted, blah, blah. I didn't want softcore porn. Alright, listen. You can't do everything. You can't return back to this sexy, revealing, sex sells to the young, mature audience thing, and then on the other hand, want us to have respect for the women's division. You see, because there's two different things. You got Lana returning to the days of the Diva, where all they were eye candy, and they had a match or two here and there. Usually it involved lingerie, or a dress, or a pillow fight of some sort. Something retarded that was, not what the women of the time deserved. But that's what Lana's made for. That's what Lana's doing. But then you got the women's evolution with Sasha and Bayley and Becky and Charlotte and Ronda and all these girls that are trying to prove that women are not just this. And you're trying to do both things. You can't champion equality and be all for women's rights and then show fucking smut films on the same show. You just can't. You can't. And I'm not saying that we need to be family friendly, but what we don't need to be seeing is a woman like Lana, who is a very public figure, who is very out and about her marriage, putting something so serious as her real life marriage out there in a disgusting storyline such as this, which is going to amount to nothing. You see, when this happened back in the Attitude Era, it was usually between two big stars. You had guys like Brian Pillman and Steve Austin going at each other, pulling guns on each other and whatnot. But it was because the feud called for that kind of thing. You see, this whole Bobby Lashley thing just came out of nowhere. And it seems like they had this idea with the Cucknellis family, realized everybody was not going along with it, and then just kind of transferred it over to the more popular Lana, and thinks it's okay now. And it's not. And I'm not with it. Not even the slightest. It's just more shit to add to the fire of this incredibly disgusting dumpster fire that we call Monday Night Raw on a weekly basis. It's almost baffling to me just how bad it's become. It's like we don't even tune in to enjoy the show anymore. Like, we always have our hopes up, right? But we tune in just to see how are they going to screw this up tonight. Because they do it every single week. We hoped and prayed for this draft. And it came back and it bit us in the ass. Because in the end, what did it do? It changed nothing. We're not going to feel the effects for quite some time. So let's talk about this card up and down really quick. Like I said, we opened up with the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair in a non-title matchup that went about 15 minutes and earned the number 1 pick for Monday Night Raw. We then get the first batch of picks announced by Stephanie McMahon. Number 1, Seth Rollins. Number 2, Brock Lesnar, followed by Charlotte Flair. The New Day going to SmackDown Live, and then Raw's final pick of the first round, Andrade and Zelina Vega. Then not only did we have to go to the stupid Fox panels, we had to go to the WWE panel, which I would much rather go to if I was given a choice of what would you rather see? A bunch of talking heads in suits that don't know dog shit about wrestling, pretending like they give a shit about wrestling. Oh, we love the draft. Or would you rather see Booker T act like a fool saying shucky ducky quack quack? I'd rather take the Bookman. That's what I would rather watch. But lesser of two evils. Samoa Joe sitting there on the panel as well, sporting his cast on his wrist. Booker T and Beth Phoenix were also on the panel. Beth Phoenix looks great, by the way. She does a great job on NXT. And I was actually hoping that when Natty, later on this evening, was going to announce her mystery partner, I was hoping that Beth Phoenix was going to be that partner, but it was infinitely worse. Bam, bam. You know who it was, and it was garbage. It smelled like cat piss, mothballs, boom. You know you love it. Andrade would take on Ali. This was a fun match. This was cool. One of the other things I enjoyed was Zelina Vega cut a promo on her way to the ring where she accidentally referred to the 4 horsewomen as the 4 horse faces, which is kind of funny because Zelina Vega kind of has a little bit of a horse face going on herself. I love Zelina Vega. I think she's an attractive person, but I'm just saying, call a spade a spade. Like, I call it like I see it. As much as I think she's a beautiful chick, I mean, she's kind of got a little horse face thing going on herself. Don't tell her I said that because I love her to death. Anyway, Andrade defeats Ali, and this was a pretty good matchup. It should have got a little bit more time, but I guess we had to get to more draft picks that were going to make me infinitely crazy, which was the next round in the second round. Raw started off picking the women's tag team champions, Asuka and Kairi Sane. The interesting thing, and the one time during this whole night they decided to make something make sense, was here with the women's tag team championship, where they reiterated, because I was ready to bring the hammer down and be like, this is a stupid pick because the champions of the women's division are on all the brands, and why did you pick? So I was ready, but they did the right thing, and they explained, well, the women's tag team champions will be defended across all brands, but having this pick, Raw making this pick, simply means if the Kabuki Warriors were to ever lose the women's championships, that they would both be relegated back full-time to Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Raw alone. Holy shit, this company can actually explain something and give me logic? Why can't they apply this to the other 2.5 hours of this show? Awful. SmackDown Live's first pick of the second round was Daniel Bryan, a pick that they already had. Raw picked Rusev, because of course he's going to pick Rusev. Bobby Lashley stayed on Raw, so Rusev's got to stay on Raw, because Lana's going to be on Raw, and God forbid we end that right now before it goes too far. God forbid that happens. SmackDown Live picks the SmackDown Women's Champion. Wow, really? Do you think so? I don't understand why champions were eligible in this draft. And Raw's final pick of the second round ended up being Aleister Black, so that, like I said, the chain of events would happen. Zelina Vega will be happy, Andrade will be happy, Charlotte will be happy, and they can all go out and have dinner after every single Monday Night Raw like a big happy family. The USA War Room was all pissed off about losing Daniel Bryan. Oh, feigned disappointment. Let me act like I know what I'm doing here. I'm such an extra. I'm gonna extra my heart out. Interesting side note, tomorrow night, since thank God there will be no wrestling, I will be enjoying Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. I will be watching my Yankees try to take the lead over the Houston Astros, Booker T. But even more interesting is immediately following that match, we are going to see the premiere of the Renee and Booker T show, WWE Backstage, on FS1. Interesting. So I have to tune into that. If I'm alive by the end of the Yankees match, I'm going to record it anyway. At the very least, I'll watch it before the end of the week. Maybe we'll talk about it next week or during the SmackDown thing. I'm not going to make a fucking review for WWE Backstage. Forget that. We got enough going on here. Then things got crazy again. We had to see the two idiots from Saturday Night Live that were at WrestleMania that drove me crazy during WrestleMania season because they had to have something to do with Braun Strowman and it was just so friggin' god-awful. I hated every minute of it. But they had to get their 2 cents in, and they cut a couple of jabs on Braun and whatever because of what's going on with him and Mr. Fury, and I still really could care less. You could have had the Lord himself come down, sit in front of me, and tell me, my son, Nicholas, you really need to be interested in Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman, and I would have been like, listen, Jesus, you're my dude, but I can't do it, bro, because it's just so awful. Awful. And unnecessary. And what did I say in the beginning? Unnecessary, uninspired, uninteresting. All of those things for this as well. The Viking Raider, Warrior Raider Experience Raiders finally get their hands on some gold. They defeated the Ziglorious Rudolphs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, in a decent matchup. The tag team match was a little bit of fun. Some of the action on this night was pretty decent, but it was being destroyed by all of the nonsense that was happening in between. The Viking Raiders, of course, were going to win this matchup because Ziggler and Roode were going to end up on SmackDown. Well, I thought they were going to take this opportunity to end that as well and maybe send Bobby Roode to SmackDown and keep Dolph Ziggler on Raw and free us from all that. Apparently, they are going to keep them together, and they can continue to torture us with them for however long they feel. The tag team division really means nothing right now. There are no tag teams. There's only been the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders, and then the Zigglers, and Rudolph. And on the other show, you got Heavy Machinery, and the New Day. And who else is there? The Usos have been missing. What does it matter right now? Like I said, in a couple of weeks, as this stuff starts to actually be followed, if this stuff actually starts to be followed, we might start to see some sense of what's going on. Maybe we'll get some new tag teams. Definitely looked like they went that way in the women's division tonight. But be that as it may, we have new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, who then cut a promo backstage, which I thought was rather interesting because they put over the IWGP Championships and they put over the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships because they mentioned every set of titles that they've ever held. And they are the first team now to have held IWGP, Ring of Honor, NXT, and Raw Tag Team Championships. That's pretty damn impressive. And I thought it was interesting that they would allow that to be worked in there. But right now, I guess they need to be edgy, right? So let's mention other people so that they think that we're cool. Stephanie McMahon comes out to torture us again with the third round of tonight's draft. Cedric Alexander, the first pick for Monday Night Raw, essentially changing absolutely nothing. Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champion, I guess is eligible. But SmackDown Live made sure that he didn't go nowhere. And guess what? He gets to come along with Sami Zayn as well. So they're a package deal right now. And that's going to be happening on SmackDown from this moment on. Raw then shocked the world and picked Humberto Carrillo. Now, Humberto Carrillo did fantastic on pay-per-view in that matchup for the Cruiserweight Championship. He's a great wrestler. It's cool that they kind of, I guess, picked somebody out of obscurity and drafted him. But drafting him so high above so many other established people and so many people that on the roster, stars on the roster rather, that people in the crowd were waiting to hear. And that's like, you got so many people that are fans of so many of your superstars, and you're putting this guy at like number 12 or 13 on the night, whatever we're on. What? Made no sense why you would pick him and not Cesaro or Sheamus or Joe at this number or the King of the Ring. How important is the King of the Ring if you're not picking him till second to last round? Awful. SmackDown Live picked Ali, and then Raw picked Eric Rowan, like we already talked about, taking him out of everything that was making him interesting and putting him all by himself on Monday Night Raw. Aleister Black defeated Eric Young in 2 seconds. Welcome to Monday Night Raw, Eric Young. Eric Young was drafted to Monday Night Raw in the last couple of days. I seen it break on social media. He didn't even get an entrance. He didn't get introduced, and he was not talked about prior to him just being in the ring, fighting Aleister Black, losing unceremoniously, continuing right where he left off. So, good for him, I guess. I hope this is going to lead to something, because Eric Young is a great talent. He has been seriously underused, and seeing what they decided to use him in tonight doesn't give me hope for his future on the Red brand. He lost by submitting to this very unusual submission maneuver by Aleister Black, which I'm, as of right now, kind of on the fence on. I can't decide whether or not I like it. And I think that's because there are a couple of problems with it. Just initially, it's kind of hard to lock into. It's kind of awkward looking, and essentially it's just a headlock. A weird headlock. And having to tap out to that seems kind of weird. But I guess if they continue with that and they protect it, and you don't see anybody else doing anything similar to it and just getting out of it, then I guess maybe we could put it over as something new. They called it the Dark Ritual, but it was kind of weird. And I'm not sure whether or not I'm on board with Aleister Black's new finisher, as I really did just employ the Black Mass Kick. Next round, the 4th round, Raw's pick, Buddy Murphy. Great pick. Great pick there. Not many of them, but there's a great pick. And even if SmackDown picked him, it's a great pick because Buddy Murphy is a quality athlete. He's great. He showed you that in his matchup on this night as well. And I was happy to see him just be in this draft at all, since so many people were being forgotten about. SmackDown picked Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Raw followed up with their Jinder Mahal pick because reasons. SmackDown Live, again, it's not SmackDown Live. SmackDown picked Carmella, making absolutely no change, and I feel like they only made this pick so that they can do this little announcement of the following pick being R-Truth going to Monday Night Raw with the 24/7 title. Oh, they broke up R-Truth and Carmella. Are we supposed to be emotional about this? Because I don't give a shit, man. Backstage, the Street Profits were talking about being drafted to Raw, and this was an interesting part of the evening, but it gets fucking weird. It gets weird, and this is one of the segments that makes me think that WWE is trying to do too much, and they're planning things and not wording things right, but here we go. The OC shows up. They were welcoming the Street Profits to Monday Night Raw, being very insulting, and they welcomed them to the family. AJ Styles said, "Welcome to the family," and then the OC walked away, only to turn around and attack the Street Profits, laying them out in the back. This was a very interesting segment. I said, well, finally, at least, the Street Profits are going to be moved into doing some sort of action and not just sitting in the back acting like a couple of fools, because they're so much better than that, and I want to see them in the ring, and this might be a great way to get them in there. Against the OC? Maybe. We'll see. We then got a pre-taped promo from Ricochet saying superheroes can be real. He also said that the shirt He was wearing a shirt that said superheroes are real, and then the commentary team wanted to go into this whole conversation on who do you think the superhero that Ricochet is? And Jerry Lawler said Spider-Man. This is the kind of commentary we're getting. Ricochet defeated Shelton Benjamin in under 5 minutes. Shelton Benjamin, the gold standard. A guy that could have went in there with Ricochet and entertained this crowd for a solid 10-15 minutes, gets beaten in less than 5. And while that makes Ricochet look impressive, it makes Shelton Benjamin look like about half of what he used to be, which would also make me question as to why the Monday Night Raw idiots in the War Room would decide to choose Shelton Benjamin. Oh, well, that was a great outing. He lost. He's a loser tonight. But we're going to draft him in spite of him being a loser because that was impressive. But you got Cesaro over there. And nah, we didn't screw that. This guy just lost. This guy just lost on Raw, and he lost in a beautiful way. We got to pick this guy. Is that the mindset? I don't get it. After this, we got the whole Lana backstage masseuse nonsense where she's telling the massage girl she likes it deeper, she likes it harder, she likes all this shit. And I don't care. And we're going to move right past it because it was a waste of everybody's time. Just like the next segment, which would be Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman, but Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman in a contract signing, hosted by Jerry the King Lawler. This is gonna be fun, right, you guys? We're just gonna call next right on this. It wasn't even worth it. There was this whole forced little thing between them at the end where Tyson Fury was struggling with the pen for some reason, and it's just so stupid. It was just so stupid. I didn't care. They aired a video of Al Roker talking to somebody about the draft. They were talking about how teams like the New Day could get split up even though they were just drafted all together. How are they in threat of being broken up when they were already in the draft at the beginning of the show? I gotta see shit like this. I gotta hear Al Roker on Monday Night Raw say this line, and I'm not supposed to get mad. I'm not supposed to get mad, right? I'm supposed to just watch and enjoy. I'm not supposed to sit there and use my actual functioning brain and go, God damn it! The New Day was just drafted. There is no threat of them breaking up if they're already on the show. This led to the 5th round. Raw picks the injured Samoa Joe. SmackDown picks The Miz. Raw picks Akira Tozawa. SmackDown finally decides to pick the King of the Ring. Finally, somebody's like, oh shit, wait a minute. We've been building up Baron Corbin for months and months and months. We just made him win the King of the Ring tournament, and nobody seems to have given a shit. We're in the 5th round. This thing's almost over. Somebody better pick this guy. Then the final pick of the 5th round, Shelton Benjamin. Shelty B. Why don't they call him Shelty B and put him with Shorty Gable? Right? That would be better. Since you want to do nicknames. Shelton Benjamin, tonight's big loser. Being picked by Raw. Fantastic. Buddy Murphy defeats Cedric Alexander in 9 minutes, which was a good matchup. Had a nice amount of time. It was very interesting. Buddy Murphy gets the win with the Murphy's Law. Not a good look for Cedric, I guess, if you're thinking about it. But Cedric has been on the downturn as of late. Buddy Murphy with a solid win, though. It just sucks that nobody really sees the value in Cedric. Booking this match, you kind of, you have to have a winner, you have to have a loser. Not everybody can win all the time. So it's kind of stupid for me to say, well, Cedric shouldn't have lost. But, he's been losing so much that maybe you shouldn't have put him in this match because you knew you wanted to put Buddy Murphy over. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We had this interesting segment happening. We had the Street Profits looking for the OC backstage. They then challenged them to a match. They said, we can't find them anywhere. We want to fight you guys. And then Dawkins was like, hey, listen, we should probably find a partner because we don't want to give them the numbers game. They're good with the numbers game, but we'll keep it a mystery. And he was like, yeah, we'll keep it a mystery, but we want the smoke. So now I'm waiting for this matchup. I think everybody was waiting for this matchup. It was probably the only other interesting thing that happened on Monday Night Raw. But it became nothing. And I didn't understand. Apparently they were booking this match for next week, I suppose. They weren't very clear about their intentions here. We had to see the Premier League, NBCSN. We had to hear what they had to say about the draft. Oh, we love the draft. We're loving this draft. They have no idea what they're looking at. Sixth and final round of the evening. Raw's first pick was Rey Mysterio. Another pick I don't understand. You have Rey Mysterio bring in Cain Velasquez, who is now doing his thing on SmackDown with Brock Lesnar. But now you're taking him out of the whole entire equation. Sorry, cuz. Don't matter that with Familia. I'm going over here to the Red brand to do nothing. Where does Dominic go? Is that a package deal? Does he get to take his son with him to Monday Night Raw? And clarify that. Or is that it? He's leaving the giant baby man to go fight with Cain Velasquez in case he needs backup because he knows that he's Tiny Dad and that he can't really do shit against Brock Lesnar anyway, so he's just going to go party with his little lucha friends over here since all the lightweight guys are over here anyway. And while Rey Mysterio being on Raw gives us the possibility of Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy, which definitely is enticing, the way I've seen Rey Mysterio as of late, no disrespect intended, I just call it like I see it, the man's not what he used to be. Age affects every one of us, my brother. Nobody's safe from it. Father Time comes crawling for all of us. And while Rey Mysterio of a few years back versus Buddy Murphy will be a bomb burner that would steal the show, he may have the capability of doing that still, but I'm not so sure. Maybe Buddy Murphy will bring him to some of the best matches I've seen since his return. That's the best thing we could hope for, right? But seeing Rey Mysterio versus an Ali or versus Akira Tozawa, or even, who the hell was I just talking about? Buddy Murphy! It's going to be very confusing till everything settles in. I'm forgetting everything already. SmackDown then picked Chad Gable. They called him Shorty Gable. They had the graphic that said Shorty Gable, but we're going to try not to call him that as much as we can help it. After that, Raw picks Titus O'Neil. They picked Titus O'Neil. Once again, let me tell you guys that Cesaro was not picked in this draft, but Jinder Mahal and Titus O'Neil were picked in this draft. And you want me to take it seriously? Awful. SmackDown's final pick was Elias, like we talked about, and Raw's final pick, Liv Morgan. And that was it. The draft is over, and I have no reason to believe that it's going to be any good or any better going forward until we get past this crown jewel shit and we see if they're going to take things seriously. Do you realize we got Survivor Series just a couple of weeks after Crown Jewel? Are they really going to invest the whole Raw versus SmackDown thing already? The one night of the year where both brands get... We're going to do that again? Because we just started. Why would that be special? I don't want to see brand warfare just yet. Let the brands become brands. And maybe next year you could revisit this thing. Have a couple of good 5-on-5 Survivor Series style matches within their own brands. Then give us some title matches. Call it a Survivor Series. Save brand warfare for next year. Then the main event of the evening, which I didn't think was going to be the main event of the evening, but it started and then it just never finished. The Women's Tag Team Championships were not on the line, but Asuka and Kairi Sane defeated Natalya and her mystery partner, which was Lacey Evans. These two girls have been beating the shit out of each other for the last couple of weeks. I've been saying over and over again, I'm tired of seeing them in the ring together, and I don't think putting them together makes it any better. If this is something you guys decided to do possibly 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, and build Natalya up in the tag team division while simultaneously building up a new Lacey Evans, maybe this would have worked. But at this point, I am so nauseated at the sight of Lacey Evans that I don't want to see this. And if you're watching with a keen eye, like I usually am, some of you guys might miss this, so let me fill you in. There was a spot in this matchup where Lacey Evans dropped Kairi Sane right on her face. And it was not done correctly. And you could see, as soon as she got up, Kairi Sane was mouthing something to the referee. And then proceeded to slap the taste out of Lacey Evans' mouth. Every shot that preceded that spot had a little extra something on it. She definitely took control of her in that matchup, and you could see it. She was wrapping her up. She had her in a vine at one point, and she was smiling the whole time because she didn't want to show her frustration, but she definitely took it out on Lacey Evans. You could see it. It was almost like a switch went on, and all of a sudden Kairi Sane just took control of this matchup, was just plastering Lacey Evans with every inch of her, man. She was catching her with back elbows, spinning back fists, straight out flush palms right across the face. And it was all because she hurt her. She fucked up and you hurt me. And that's what you do. You get a little bit of a receipt back. It was a little bit of something extra in everything Kairi Sane was throwing. You go back and watch it and you will see it for yourself. And I think Asuka continued the mantra. I think Kairi told her. She might have told her in Japanese for all we know, but somehow the message was relayed. Asuka could have very well seen it for herself the way I did. Because when she got in the ring, she was just as physical and just as aggressive with Lacey Evans. And it wasn't until Natalya got in the match that you could physically see like it just kind of toned down a little bit. And they weren't as ramped up. And they were back to their professional selves. It was a very weird matchup. Way too much time, I think, given to this. I don't know why this was the main event of the evening. It seemed a little bit excessive. All for the Kabuki Warriors to get the win in the end. So Evans and Natalya teamed up for no reason. Not to mention Lacey Evans is a SmackDown star. I think Natalya is a Raw star now. We have to go back down the list to really be sure. So why they would be a team together doesn't really make much sense. If you're not the champions already, you can't be a team, right? You can't be a tag team if you can't wrestle across brands because you're I don't know, man. Is all of this just for nothing? Are they just going to do whatever they want anyway? Probably. We didn't see any green mist on this evening to win. It was just a very weird matchup. Not much to it. Then we had the FireFly Funhouse. We had Rambling Rabbit trying to warn Bray Wyatt of Seth Rollins' impending attack. Suddenly, Seth Rollins attacked Bray Wyatt from behind. He then started ripping up pictures. Bray Wyatt popped up and screamed at Seth, asked him why are you doing this? And then Seth Rollins would just continue to attack. He said, burn it down. He put a lighter on the table and he set the whole fucking place on fire, flipped it over. Bray Wyatt's laughing as the flames engulf my TV. The crowd was booing like crazy in the background. I don't know if they were booing at Seth Rollins. I don't know if they were booing the entirety of the segment. I don't know if they were booing because they realized that wasn't actually the FireFly Funhouse and the WWE's a bunch of brainless idiots. I don't know if they were booing because they didn't like that Bray Wyatt was having his house burned down. I don't know what the reason was. All I know is for the second straight week, Raw is ending with nothing but boos. This was a terrible, terrible show. This was a very poor effort. Very, very poor effort by the WWE tonight. They did things like had matches announced and then didn't follow through with them. Or at the very least, they made it appear like the Street Profits were going to show us who they were going to unveil as a partner and we're going to have a six-man on this night. I don't understand this shit. I don't. I really don't understand this shit. It's absolutely painful. Painful to watch. Is it worth going up and down the draft? No. No. Is it worth learning the rosters just yet? No. Booker T at the end of the show was teasing, oh, there might be a blockbuster trade. Who cares? At this point, I still don't know who is where. As we talked about, it's going to take some time for everything to start to feel the way it's got to feel, for everybody to settle in and to see if the WWE is going to stick to their guns with this or if it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. And we all got excited and hyped up for nothing. We all wanted this draft, and now we all regret it. This was the worst draft in the history of WWE drafts. And that's saying something, because they've had some pretty damn bad drafts before. This, you had the whole entire list leaked for SmackDown. And well, tonight you made them switched up the list here and there. You didn't make any improvements. That's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Thank you guys so much for being with us all week long as we continue the pro wrestling review train, because it apparently is never ever going to stop ever as we get ready for the best wrestling night of the week. Wednesday is coming at us, so make sure you're here with us for our AEW and NXT reviews. Don't forget to be here with us Friday nights for our SmackDown reviews, and we are going to continue to keep bringing you guys some of the best content that any wrestling channel can bring you, as this family that we are growing here, the Sledgehead Army, continues to rise. We are comfortably over the 2,000 subscriber mark. Thank you to each and every one of you guys that has joined us over this WWE Draft Week coming out of Hell in a Cell. It's been a fun ride with you guys for the last 3 years, and buckle up because we're just getting started, and I'm so happy to have you guys here with me. Don't forget to like this video. It definitely helps get this video out there. If you're still with me at 56 minutes, which I know most of you guys still are, please make sure you share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they were as disappointed with the draft as we were. And don't forget, as always, to encourage them to subscribe. But most importantly, make sure you are subscribed. And some of our previous subscribers have been telling me that they were unsubscribed. And they didn't do it. So make sure you are still subscribed. Make sure your notification bell is still hit so that you don't miss a thing as we continue to grow the newest, fastest, coolest faction in all of the YouTube wrestling community as we take over one subscriber at a time. Don't forget to check out everything else on this channel, from everything wrong with the Hell in a Cell all the way through the week of Raw, AEW, NXT, and the very special head-to-head Wednesday Night War review that we did that had the debut of the Poop Hammer Award. Yeah, that's right. I said the Poop Hammer Award. If you want to see what that's all about, check out the Wednesday Night War head-to-head breakdown right now and let me know who your Poop Hammer would have been for this show. Don't forget to drop your hammers in the comment section down below. Some of the best hammers will be featured on previous episodes of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That, my friends, is going to do it. And we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom. Fuck this draft.